You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you can feel it. You've felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It's this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about? The Matrix? Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere, all around us, even now in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on the television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch, a prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. So, what is the Matrix? What is life? What is this simulated reality that we all inhabit, that we all live in? What is this? What is the Matrix? What is life? And why does life feel kind of like a role-playing, like a bad RPG role-playing video game sometimes? So, I like how he says you can't be told what the Matrix is. You have to experience it for yourself. That right there it's very interesting, because I would take that one statement to say, if you have you ever experienced what some people call the Zen state of mind? I'm sure you have, but everyone has a little bit here and there. Most people don't notice it though. It's like when you go on vacation and you're on a beach and you have a Corona in a pail of ice, and everything's just perfect for the moment, and you kind of drift. You're not really in deep in your thoughts. You kind of just you sink right into the present moment. That could be the Zen state. Essentially, it just means you're deep in the present moment and you're not stuck in your head thinking. You're here. You feel the breeze. You see the walls right in front of you, or the nature right in front of you. You're here. You're really here. You feel like you're here. You feel like you've woken up a little bit, like you woke up out of a dream. And you can breathe and you can see. And of course there's different depths of how awake you are when you're in the Zen state. Like how much you're in the present moment. And the term being in the present moment is a terrible term, because you're always in the present moment anyway. Where else would you be? People say like just be in the moment. Just go with it, But that's not necessarily the Zen state. That term can be applied to the Zen state, but it can be applied to many things. So it's a bad term. So that Matrix quote, you can't really talk about it. You have to experience it. And that's one of the problems with a lot of spiritual teachers, is they're talking about a place that they kind of inhabit, a place they live in the Zen state. But if you don't really have access to that state, then you're kind of just like, wow, they're pretty words, they're interesting words, but you have to experience it, And oh man, this one non-dual Shiva Tantra original classic tantra book writer, and he's a YouTuber also. Amazing though. This guy's incredibly in depth. Just wow, amazing. I forget his name. Something Williams. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, he was saying he had like a couple degrees in ancient yogic like philosophy before he even started growing spiritually and started growing into this Zen state. He met a really good teacher one time, and the teacher was saying, by the way, you can get caught up in the analytical world of great ancient texts and be like a master of it, but you get too caught up in enjoying the belief of the texts and the poetry of the texts, and get enjoying the knowledge that you've mastered some part of it, and you mistake that joy, that subtle joy of mastery or belief, you mistake that for real spirituality, because it can kind of seem similar, but it's not real Zen. It's not real being really deep in the present moment. It's totally different thing, but you can mistake one for the other. And when he heard that from a teacher that he was taking a course on or whatever, he was like, uh-oh, because he just spent 10 years like mastering. He's like, this is my job. I thought and he's like, what do I do if I want to turn it around? Like, how do I fix this problem? And he's like, you have to take everything you know and kind of throw it out the window, and you have to go back to square one, and you have to go back to the beginner's mind set, because he's got mental jewelry, tons and tons and tons of like degrees in ancient texts. I think it was non-dual Shaiva Tantra is what he teaches now. Also known as Kashmiri Shaivism. And if you go back into history, it was an incredible place, such an amazing piece of history. In Kashmir, I don't know, like 1600 years ago or so, it was one of the richest, it was like the richest hubs in the world. And it was like Buddhism and yoga culture and Hinduism and other religions too were all like, all of the best people in those areas, those fields, were kind of all in this one, they all kind of came together in this one spot. And it was one of the wealthiest places in the world at the time, if not the wealthiest place in the world. And so they had like little temples for like different religions all in the same spot. Incredible. And if you look into Jesus' history, he played a big role in Kashmir too. He was all over that area many times. If you dig really deep into the past, the possibilities of where Jesus went during the lost years, and even some people say after. Yeah. But he was there. His name was actually carved into one of the Shiva temples. His name. I think it was it Yeshua? No, it was Isa. There he goes by that name, but another name too. And he's mentioned in other books too as a prophet. I forget the name. But pretty cool stuff. All right, so I was talking about the Zen state. So another way that I could describe the Zen state is depicted in Plato's cave allegory. Have you ever heard of the idea of Plato's cave allegory? Most people have. It's it's a little story where you have a cave, and you have three people chained to one wall, and their heads are fixed, so they can't look away, and they're looking at another wall, and there's a candle behind them, and there's other people behind them holding up images in front of the candle, and those images are projected on the wall that they're being forced to look at. So they're seeing a wall with images dancing across the stage, but they can't look away. They can only see that. And then someone got free and left the chains, and they looked around this area, and they're like, wow, this looks weird. What's happening here? So that person is free from being stuck in that moment, stuck in that state. And then they actually went out the cave and looked at, and there's a whole world out there. And then they came back in, and they saw amazing beauty outside the cave. And then they came back in and looked at the other people and tried to free them, tried to shake them and be like, this is not reality. This is not reality. This is fake. This is like, we're stuck in a weird little illusion here. There's a whole world out there, and it's absolutely beautiful. We're stuck. So that's Plato's cave allegory. And that is the best way to describe the Zen state. The people that are looking at the wall, they don't know that there's anything else to reality. They just think that projection is that what they're seeing on the wall from the projection. That's all their whole world is. That's it. They don't never known anything but that. And that's like this reality. It's a projection, right? Because if you look into any physical object, it's just space and energy and atoms and molecules dancing around. It's a vibrating things, and then these vibrating atoms have millions of miles of space between each atom, so to speak, and they're vibrating in a certain way that gives it a certain physicality and look. But it's not actually that. It's just energy moving and space in between. Tons, mostly space. 99.999% empty space. But it looks, to our perception, it looks solid and feels solid. So that's the projection, is physical matter, our physical world. It's a projection. Very cool. But it's not the real reality, I mean, it is reality, but it's as real as that cave. But this is on a whole nother level. This is in your mind. This is mental. So when applied to Zen, when applied to the awakened state or the Zen state, I don't want to say Zen too much because that refers to a type of Buddhism. But I'm talking about the awakened state. So the way this analogy applies to the awakened state is they only know this one reality in their mind, what they see on the wall. But when you leave that, you can see that you can, for one, you can see that these people are stuck in that state, that mental state, and they don't know anything else. And two, you can see a whole world, a whole jungle, a beautiful, beautiful world out there waiting to be explored. So there's two kind of things you can see. And you can see that it's a projection and it's not really real. So the mental state that's describing is the human mind. It's always thinking and talking. It's always thinking and talking and playing images and ideas It's they call it a stream of thought, a stream of consciousness that it never ends. It's like a river, and the thoughts are coming down the river, and it never ends, and thoughts never stop. The only time that you think the thoughts stop is when you are very inebriated. Then the thought stream slows down, and you get a bit of relief from it because it's slowing down. It doesn't stop though; it just kind of mellows out. And also, or if you're being entertained, like if you're watching a really good movie, you're not thinking. That thought stream stops, but it doesn't really stop because you're changing it for a different thought stream. So instead of your images and thoughts constantly going on, you've churned on to a different one, a more interesting one, like a movie that's someone else's thoughts and images that is obviously probably more entertaining. But whichever one it is, it's still a constant stream of thoughts and images. But yeah, I think drugs and alcohol, they slow that stream down, and there's a little bit of space in between, and that's why it feels good. They feel one of the reasons why they feel good, because they slow that down. What else slows the thought stream down? Yoga, meditation, hanging out in nature, sitting in nature. But like the Matrix quote, unless you've really experienced deep Zen state, talking about it, it doesn't cut it, it doesn't cut it. So that one guy, something Williams, I'll put his name in the description. He's amazing, so amazing. He's a writer, and he has a book called what is it called? Something Tantra Illuminated. Yeah. It's like I have the audio version, and it's massive. It's like 20 hours or something, but it's just every little chapter and every passage is just like, wow. Absolutely. If you're a deep spiritual seeker, you have to read that book. I'm not affiliated with him in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, deep book. But it's not for everybody. It's more for the people that have studied multiple religions and have spent, 1,000+ hours meditating, or times 10, maybe 10,000 hours. It's for deep spiritual seekers. It's not for everyone. Like if you are very, very Christian and you don't want to look into other religions, that book is 100% not for you. But if you've read, other religions, and you're curious and you're a seeker, a real spiritual seeker, I would read that book for sure. Tantra Illuminated, I think it's called. Yeah. So that's Tantra is basically yoga, to put it in simple terms. They're different, but they're basically the same. If you're curious, like what is classical? Also, it's classical tantra, not new Western tantra. That's like sex. It's about sex. Classical tantra is not that. Not about sex. It's like yoga. It's about spirituality and meditation. It's developing spiritually. Yeah. So another phrase from the movie Matrix. Why, oh why didn't I choose the blue pill? And that's a common thing that comes up in spiritual seekers. They can spend a year or a lifetime or a weekend retreat, and you can spend a lot of your life being a spiritual seeker and not getting anywhere. Or if you kind of wake up a little bit and you're sort of in between worlds, living in, like, most people that have never woken up spiritually, they're not there. They're not fully enlightened either. They're kind of like just a little bit awake, halfway awake, or partially awake. And sometimes when you're on that path, it can feel like, why, oh why didn't I choose the blue pill? And of course the blue pill is you fall asleep, you forget you ever woke up and saw the Matrix, and you fall asleep and you go back to normal, like someone that's never really woken up in any way. They're just normal, totally normal person. So that's the blue pill. And then the red pill is you fully wake up and you see the Matrix, but it changes everything, right? And of course in the movie it's kind of a bad thing, seeing the Matrix, because it's like they live in this apocalyptical aftermath destroyed world, our world, but it's destroyed. And it's kind of, this analogy is kind of like the spiritual path. It just it kind of destroys your world when you evolve spiritually. It's kind of part of it. Your ego slowly sands down your ego and your walls and your perceptions and your ego, all the things that you think you're amazing at and brilliant at and so intelligent about, it sands that down to the point where you're like, wait a sec, I'm not actually that intelligent. I might be a total idiot, actually. It's like the more you grow, the more you shrink. Grow spiritually, shrink your ego. But the thing is it can be hard times. It can be like hard sometimes, right? The spiritual path. And so that's why didn't I choose the blue pill? But I want to encourage you that it's worth it. It's out of all the millions of things in the world that you can work towards and work on and grow and put time and effort into doing and making, all the things in the world, the most important thing, I would say, by far, is the spiritual path. And why? This is my encouragement to you. Why? Because I think that as humans, we're all looking for something. In one way or another, we're looking for something. And I think what we want is like, do we want to find true beauty? We want to find the most beautiful thing in the world. We're all looking for the most beautiful thing or the most pleasurable thing. But I like the term beauty. We're all looking for beauty. We're trying to find it somewhere, in something or someone, We're trying to find it. And when you slide into that Zen state, it's there. Everything, when you're deep in that Zen state, everything is very beautiful and peaceful and beautiful, and you're out of the thought stream. Peaceful, serene, and beauty all those things, they lie there. They are there in the Zen moment. And it's right here, right now, right in front of you. And yeah, so it's worth it. I'm giving you an encouragement. It's worth it to follow the spiritual path, even though it can be very hard and very painful and even lonely at times, and confusing and derailing. But I'm telling you, it's worth it, because we're all looking for beauty, and it's there. And when you're deep in that state, you can look at the most simple thing and be moved by the beauty. The beauty of reality. Truth is beauty, and beauty is truth. That is all ye know on earth, and all ye need know. I think that's from the Gita. I'll leave you with that. Like and subscribe. I forgot to say like and subscribe. Please subscribe, because my channel is very, very tiny, and I'm a very new YouTuber. If you've made it this far, please subscribe for more great content. And have a good one. Thank you, and peace. Namaste.